Here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron, Sean Meyers joined by the first-year head coach for the Franklin Regional Panthers, Lance Getsy. His team coming off of a miraculous comeback victory, 41-40 on the road against Greater Latrobe. That's one for the ages for the Panthers. Down big in the second quarter. You have a late play in the first half, and then it really carried over into the second half, culminating with the go-ahead touchdown and extra point in the final minute of play. As a coach on the sideline, did you see anything that really turned momentum in your team's favor that allowed that all to happen?
I just think that, we settled down and we got to start playing football. I mean, everything that they did, we prepared for. We just weren't executing correctly. We made a little adjustment at halftime defensively with our front. Just two guys shifting just a little bit to their strength and just to keep people off our linebackers. But just our kids believing that we could come back, and our defense really playing a solid defense and not allowing them to have a first down until that last drive in the entire second half gave our offense plenty of opportunities to come back.
Was there anything that was said, whether from you or from the players themselves at the break, that you kind of realized maybe got them in the right mindset to allow this to happen?
I just told them, I reminded them that we have never given up all season long. I mean, every game that we played, we were in. Nobody really blew us out this season. It hasn't gone the way we wanted it to, but, we could play with anybody. We've proven it. And crazier things have happened in this world, and just to keep fighting, and our kids did.
I think one of the things that stood out to me reading the recaps of it was that you got a touchdown on the final play of the first half on a bit of a trick play, and that seemed like that really helped going into the locker room. So talk about how that was designed and ultimately executed to perfection.
Oh, well, that's just a play that we put in a couple weeks ago and, utilized it if we needed to. And one of my assistant coaches reminded me that we had that, and when it got to be third down, we decided to try it. There's nothing to lose at that point. It's just a little hook and ladder to our running back, and Maddox Morrison made a heck of a play with that. I mean, he caught the ball, and before his feet hit the ground, he pitched it to Tyler, and he just took it the rest of the way. So I think that gave us some momentum, got our kids believing a little bit, but we were still down 20 at that point, so we knew it wouldn't be easy.
One guy who has really elevated his play throughout the season is your starting quarterback, Connor Donnelly. And when we visited you in camp, you said there's basically three different guys competing for that spot. You weren't sure how it was going to play out. And it seemed like at least through the first couple of weeks, you mixed and matched based on drives and giving different guys opportunities. But Donnelly has won the job recently. What has he done to impress you as this season has gone along?
Connor understands the offense, and we do a lot of different formations and motions, and there's a lot to be able to adjust to, and he's just done the most consistent job at that. I like where Connor is right now. He still knows that he has to learn more, and he's still trying to grow. He's taken a lot of shots at quarterback. He got sacked like 9 or 10 times and still was able to make some good throws. So his toughness, his overall knowledge of the offense really is what elevated him to be our starter.
Talking to Lance Getsy, the head coach for the Panthers, after his team stuns Greater Latrobe. Well, another player who is key in the comeback has been key all season long. That's Kaden Smith, and he's made big plays after big plays, whether it be offensively, defensively, or in special teams. He did it again, hauling in the game-winning touchdown. What makes him so good at the biggest moments?
Kaden's just a competitor. He loves to compete at high levels, and he's a very athletic young man. So his abilities, his size, his speed, his strength, all give him a nice advantage against a lot of kids. But Kaden just likes to compete, and whenever you're in tough times, he turned to me, looked at me, and goes, he had it. He knew he could beat that corner, and he ran a great route. The young man, number 23, he fell on Caden's move and left wide open. So, he's somebody that we know we can turn to when we need a big play.
And I said that he provided the winning touchdown. That's not exactly accurate. It tied the game at 40-all, and then you had the extra point pending, and that was Joseph Bain who split the uprights to give your team that 1-point victory. A little bit of pressure, I would think, on a young kicker, but he was able to put it through. Is there any message to him either before the kick or certainly afterwards?
Oh, Afterwards, yeah, congratulated him. The kids were all excited for him. Beforehand, I didn't want anybody talking to him, not even to let him know. He's a freshman, never really played football before. He told me today that he did look at the scoreboard and knew what it's all about. Joe, he's a great kid who comes to football whenever he can. He's on a soccer team, but he still makes it to football practice like 2-3 days a week, and then goes to soccer practice right after. So he really enjoys being a part of this team, and we enjoy having him.
You had mentioned that your team has been competitive in all the games, even the setbacks, and obviously at least looking at the final scores, that's very accurate. Every loss was by 2 scores or less. But it was a 4-game losing streak that your team endured after winning Week 0 impressively against Plum. How did you make sure that the team kept the right mindset during that skid?
I just kept reminding them that, it's a long season. Those first 5 games really don't count towards making the playoffs. And if we continue to get better, we could be in the playoffs, and who knows what will happen after that. It's a new season. They knew that. I think the fact that they are playing with these teams, they played well against Bethel Park, at least for the first half and a little bit in the second half. And Bethel Park is really turning it on now. And just the different teams that we played and seeing their success and knowing that we were right in those games is giving our kids that confidence.
Certainly, it's no secret that with the way the playoffs are set up, your matchup against Greater Latrobe was of the greatest of importance in terms of trying to make the playoffs. So as a coach, I'm sure you realize that. Is that something that you want your players to acknowledge and embrace, or would you rather have them not even think about that before the game?
Oh, no, we discussed it. I think communicating and getting everything out in the open is important. These kids know that they read the articles on the internet. They talk on social media, so they understand the importance of that game, and there's no hiding that. So we discussed it, but we approach every week like a playoff week, so I don't think it was any different from any other week in our minds. The importance of that game was well known.
Your team is now 2-1 in Big East Conference play, 3-5 overall. What would you say have been the biggest strengths of your team through 2021?
Just the effort and the growth. I think our kids are growing and getting better week after week. We faced a lot of injuries, and our kids are still fighting. It doesn't matter who we put in. And that's one part of the, at the beginning of the year, we try to play as many guys as we could, and maybe we lost some close games, but we're getting guys game experience. We have a young team as far as varsity football experience, and so getting those guys that experience early on is paying off a little bit now.
Talking to Lance Getsy, the head coach for the Franklin Regional Panthers here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron. And Lance, you were not a first-time head coach. You were at Charleroi previously, but you take over at Franklin Regional for a legend in Greg Botta. And I know that presents a little bit of pressure trying to fill those shoes to some extent. How has this first season gone for you specifically?
Well, it's not going the way we wanted. I'm sure we wanted to win more games up to this point, but I really enjoy that community. I enjoy the students in the school. I enjoy my players. There's a lot of backing from administration, and we have one of the best athletic directors there is, Zach Kessler. So all of that makes it very enjoyable, and I just love the grind of football. So I enjoy being stuck there all day Saturday watching film and taking my Sundays and watching more film and not getting home until 8 o'clock at night all week. I'm really enjoying this season, and Franklin Regional, I couldn't imagine a better place to be.
And while you're a first-year head coach with the Panthers, you've been around the program and you know the history and you know the rivalries. And you have a couple upcoming at Penn-Trafford this week and then finishing up at home against Gateway, 2 neighboring schools. How much do you and the players embrace the opportunity to finish up against 2 local schools?
We look forward to it. We know that there's 2 tough games to go. We're focused on Penn-Trafford right now because that's this week. What John Ruane has done over there and the program he's built, we look at it as a great opportunity to see where we are right now and where we stand against a great program. So I think our kids enjoy that rivalry. They know a lot of each other from baseball and basketball and football over the years. That it's going to be enjoyable for everybody to go out there and play against competitors that they know a little bit about.
What are the biggest keys to have success against Penn-Trafford?
Being able to stop their run game is going to be huge. John does a great job of out-formationing you and trying to get to some leverages and being able to adjust to all the shifts, their motions, and place solid up front with not letting them get a big push is going to be big. And then offensively, sustaining some drives so to keep their offense off the field. We haven't been a team that has sustained many drives. I think we had a 10-play drive last week, but we've been a quick score whenever we do and not putting together those really long drives consistently. So I think, trying to get to that point where we can do that is going to be big for this game.
Final thing for you, your brother is a coach for the Green Bay Packers, so have you put in any calls to get Aaron Rodgers to come talk to your team maybe during the offseason?
No, not yet. I have not. I know that he's flying my daughters out there and for New Year's, spend with his family and a couple of my nephews and my other niece. So I'll make sure that they bring home some messages.
Well, Lance, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations on the impressive win last week, and keep it up the rest of the way.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's Lance Getsy, the head coach for the Franklin Regional Panthers, here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.